In a desperate attempt to convince more people that protests against police violence is something that they don't need to support, Brian Kilmeade on Fox, I think he went on Fox Business as a guest here, decided to pull this Muslim terrorist card and connect protesters to Al-Qaeda. Let's listen to this guy.
I want to know, and it becomes increasingly frustrating, when does this end?
When the cops are empowered to stop it. When a mayor who will go and use the resources of the federal government to help stop it. When we start convincing these Antifa, these people, law enforcement officials, to not let the Antifa individuals go, sit there, lock them up and interrogate them almost like you would Al-Qaeda, because they are undermining our country the same way these Islamic extremists were doing it. We were dead serious about that. We're not dead serious about this. And now we have Seattle 100 days, Portland 100 days, and we have Rochester, New York now with outlandish out-of-towners coming in, creating chaos.
So treat protesters almost like you treat Al-Qaeda prisoners, which is how, Brian? By the way, what's almost treating them like Al-Qaeda prisoners? And which Al-Qaeda prisoners? We're talking about the ones we had in Guantanamo Bay. We're talking about torture. We're talking about waterboarding, because all that stuff was happening with prisoners from this war that we're fighting. So I'm trying to figure out exactly where he stands, if he's serious about what he's talking about.
I think that's a really good question. But first of all, because I'm completely distracted, I think that he kind of looks like the actor Peter McNichol from Ally McBeal. He played John Cage, and he was also the actor was in Ghostbusters 2, and he played Janos. Oh, it's Peter really McNeely. Hard for me to. Brian Kilmeade, I swear to God, he looks at this. Yeah, Peter McNeely. Okay, yes. So every time I look at him, I can't really take him seriously. He looks like the guy from Ghostbusters too. Anyways, I think that people love to bait Americans who don't necessarily have the knowledge base by throwing around Al-Qaeda and kind of get this whole bad guys thing, as opposed to having intelligent conversations and discussions about, people standing up for their rights, protesting, speaking out, and making people feel comfortable with this, because this is the mentality that we don't need out there, when the reality is that we need actual change and that there are people being actively oppressed in our society. We do not need to treat them like they are enemy combatants because they just don't want to be murdered by police. They don't want to be discriminated against. They want opportunities. They want healthcare. They want basic living standards. We really, really need to stop this whole they are something wrong and they are criminal and they are here to kill the democracy, as opposed to they are merely asking for the democracy to give us its due.
Yeah, when your argument, I'm not even sure if the argument even went to this point. If your argument against protests, against police violence, and every time we see someone else get murdered in the streets without any kind of due process by police officers who aren't the executioners, which we shouldn't have those either, just my personal opinion. But whenever we have these conversations, and then you lose your conversation about why we should continue to allow police to do this, because that's the basis for this. Protesters come out and say, hey, we need to have cops stop doing this way, because it's killing people unnecessarily and destroying people's lives. The ones who survive, who the friends and family that knew the person. That's the one argument, and the opposite argument should be, no, these are the reasons why I think it's okay what the cops are doing. Once you get through that argument and you've lost it, which I think they pretty solidly have, the next is to start demonizing the people that are out there in the streets, to mischaracterize what they're there for and what they're doing and how we got to this point. Kilmeade did not bring up the fact that people keep getting killed by cops in the streets. Instead, he just wants to compare them to Al-Qaeda, because we've gotten past the point of winning that argument. We're just gonna go with, okay, well, they're just evil. Who's the most evil group that Al-Qaeda? Let's go with Al-Qaeda and say we should treat them like Al-Qaeda, because if we call them Al-Qaeda, because Antifa is only sticking about 50% of the time, we gotta pump this up a little bit higher and make sure that everyone else who's afraid of Al-Qaeda will also incorporate all those same negative feelings and not want anything that they're fighting for to come to pass.
Exactly. And there's something that is important to take note of because I think it's been very much skewed by the media. There was a report that was put out by the nonprofit organization called Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project. And they looked at all of these George Floyd protests, and this had just come out last week. And what they were able to find is that 93% of the racial justice protests that swept across the United States this summer were non-violent. They only became violent and destructive generally when the police got involved or when outside entities that are operating in this whole stealth mode mindset, some have been accused as being law enforcement, some have been accused as being KKK and these Proud Boy outsiders, that is when they became violent. And so this whole idea that protesters must be aligned with Al Qaeda and they must be the bad ones, it really does not match up with the actual facts that we have. But as we know, this whole administration and the Republican Party right now are not big on facts, science, and data.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.